On the other for Mami Mwa Kwaba, Embra, GH Politics Avenue. So, podcasters, the trainer make headlines. Nejimre, now edimi exomo. The need even roxium, I am also subscribe edit amami. Onya Yambo in a parliament. Now, Afenyo Markins, with ongoing a new SIM registration process. No, a question a year, the minister in charge, Sam George, Audia, raise concerned on the floor of parliament. Enidue majimre medu ewrem yemungrem na enhwe abra omo ajimre no mo address national issues ahokse age politics avenue mesrok say yonko insi.
So, Speaker, first is this NCA SIM registration. Mr. Speaker, Mr. Edmond Yenchi Fianco, Director General of National Communication Authority, says that the government's planned SIM registration exercise is intended to address some so-called irregularities in previous registration process. The Speaker, according to him, this would be the third after the 2011 exercise, which, according to him, lacked proper ID verification. The Speaker, fortunately, we have a minister with an institutional memory in this area, having served on the Communications Committee in his previous life in opposition. And, Mr. Speaker, I would strongly urge the leader of government business to program the Communications Minister to brief this House on this all-important matter. Mr. Speaker, the problem is that the majority leadership is seen as always shielding the ministers, and they are making the ministers comfortable and sleeping on the job. Important policies that are supposed to come to this House, you hear them doing press conference because they know that the majority leader and his chief whip will shield them. This is House of Parliament. You don't use press conference. And Mr. Speaker, important national matters must be announced in this chamber. Mr. Speaker, this shouldn't be one of those issues that the chief whip will come and defend. He should program the communication minister to come to this chamber and tell the people's representatives, Mr. Speaker, what exactly they mean, rather than letting the Director General be addressing press and saying things that, Mr. Speaker, are supposed to be properly put. Mr. Speaker, doctors have been raising concerns about the rise in hernia cases in Ghana. Mr. Speaker, Dr. Godfred Owusu Ankasa Methodist Faith Hospital has warned, Mr. Speaker, has warned about the rising cases of inguinal hernia in Ghana, stressing that delayed treatment often leads to complications. Mr. Speaker, the Methodist Health Trust has treated over 800 patients across Ankansa, Aburoso, and Apeja. The nurse manager, Mr. Speaker, Gloria Ejewa Osebuatin, also urged people to seek proper medical care and called on the National Health Insurance Scheme to subsidize hernia treatment. Mr. Speaker, the issue here is subsidizing the treatment. Mr. Speaker, we have heard of the new health fund that was the Ghana Medical Trust Fund, which was scooped out of the health insurance scheme. Mr. Speaker, can the Minister of Health be programmed to come and address this important matter as to whether or not this can also be added to the Ghana Health Fund? Mr. Speaker, it is very important because, Mr. Speaker, there are matters that we may consider trivial, but somebody in the village who has this condition and does not have the means. Mr. Speaker, the thing is that it's not everything that the health insurance covers. And this is one important thing that, Mr. Speaker, we need the ministerial briefing on. Mr. Speaker, so the Chief Whip, who is now standing in for the majority leader, should take note and program the health minister to come. Mr. Speaker, the next issue is that, Mr. Speaker, MPA has given an indication of increase in price of fuel for March 16 window. Petrol now is 11 cedi 57 pesos. Diesel is pegged at 14 cedi 35 pesos. Mr. Speaker, we are being told that because of happenings in faraway Iran, the president said so. Mr. Speaker, Mr. President said the happenings in Iran will affect Ghana. Since when did you change your mind? Mr. Speaker, he said he has instructed the Energy and Finance Minister to monitor the situation for certain adjustment to be made. According to the President, Ghana has sufficient buffers. Let us see evidence of that. If indeed we have sufficient buffers, we don't expect any increase in fuel prices. Government must subsidize, because in Akufo-Addo's era, you said Ukraine, Russia should not have any effect. You said it's 7,000 kilometers away. The bombs are not being thrown in Ghana. So, Mr. Speaker, we don't expect anything less. Already, you have increased electricity tariffs by almost 30%. People, Ghanaians, are suffering. This recruitment also is another issue. You sold forms to 506,000 when you know that you have only vacancy for 5,000 people. You sold forms to 506,000 when you know that you have vacancy for 5,000. Then, apart from the 220 Ghana cedi per form, you are now going to charge them 1,600 for medicals. So, Mr. Speaker, so those who qualify for medicals, they go and do medicals. So you have about 200,000 going for medicals, when you know that even if all of them pass, you have vacancy for 5,000. Mr. Speaker, if 200,000, what is that? If 100,000 have even qualified for medicals, you know you have only 5,000. So you are going to get 160 million from the poor Ghanaian youth.
You have taken 113 million.
1,600 cedis, transportation not included. That is the fee. Meanwhile, you know that the person will not have access. Why do you do this? If all of them, even if 50% of them pass, even if 50% of them pass, that is 50,000. Yet you have only 5,000 vacancy. 5,000. And you are going to take 6,600 from each of them. Mr. Speaker, I do not think that this is the right approach. We've been told the minister will brief us, but the minister is here to brief us. Mr. Speaker, can the recruitment exercise be suspended so that these things are properly ironed out? Because the system that has been introduced Mr. Speaker, for want of a better word, is duping the youth. The students, the youth are being duped. It's like a scam. How can you go to an IT, a so-called AI platform? You want to go to immigration, then it asks you what is the size of a basketball court. AI, as I know, must be programmed, must be internalized, so that the particular purpose is achieved. You cannot be generic in the use of AI. You won't get the desired result. My colleague Sam George is here. He's an IT expert. He knows that area more than I do. If you want to use AI to guide the process, you put in the proper inputs. You don't generalize it and say, ask what's the size of a basketball court. And you want to go to police or immigration? Mr. Speaker, no. The people are already poor. They are unemployed. And Mr. Speaker, to conclude on this matter, as political leaders and colleagues, this is not MPP NDC, but it's a threat to our democracy. If 506,000 people have actually bought forms, then political leaders, let's be careful. If 500,000 youths are unemployed and they bought forms with the expectation of getting access, then let's be careful. Because 50,000 alone on the streets we can't contain. Let us begin to use this as a trigger, as an early warning, to formulate policies that would help transform the country and stop the usual partisan politics. Government must come up with programs that will create jobs. We on this side are ready to help you, but you must help yourselves. We don't want social media ministers. We want ministers who will commit to introducing policies and implementing them with the aim of creating jobs. What we have seen, the 506,000, is a security threat to democracy if we have not paid attention. It's a serious security threat. 500,000. Mr. Speaker, I will conclude on a major concern about our cocoa farmers. The majority leader 3 weeks ago, Mr. Speaker, the majority leader 3 weeks ago promised this House that the minister will come and brief this House on the cocoa situation. Mr. Speaker, farmers continue to suffer because of this haircut. The minister sat in his ministry to address the press, did not tell us the market volatility, the effects on the farmers, and how much, if government was to subsidize, how much it was going to cost government. Mr. Speaker, we are already aware of the 7 billion losses at Gold Board, as reported by IMF. It's not opposition report. It's IMF saying that as at end of year, Gold Board transaction losses amounted to 7 billion cedis. We should be concerned. We should be concerned. That is what IMF is saying. So, Mr. Speaker, if we cannot address some of these things, then we are in difficulty. We are in a very serious situation. Mr. Speaker, our soldiers in Lebanon, we know that the finance minister is the acting defense minister. He should find time to brief this House. People have left their families, they are on peacekeeping, and they are being bombarded. They don't know about their safety. And an important national issue, this government has not found space to address Parliament. So it remains a social media matter. Mr. Speaker, it must not continue like this. The Minister of Defense must be programmed to come and brief us about the situation of Ghanaian soldiers on peacekeeping in Lebanon. It's very, very important. He does that with all the urgency. We can't allow that to be another gallery talk. Mr. Speaker, that said, I would want the majority chief whip to come and respond to some of these issues so that I take him to the next round of issues. Thank you so much.
Speaker, I thank you for the opportunity to respond to some concerns raised by members. But, Speaker, I'll be guided within the terms of Order 216 of our standing orders in responding to the issues raised. That is issues that pertains to the content of the business statements I presented to the House. Speaker, in doing so, let me touch on the issue raised by Professor Kingsley Nyaku. We are all concerned regarding the presence of members when it's time for us to commence business. Ever often, Speaker is ready. Speaker gets ready by 11:30. If sitting is adjourned to commence at midday, Speaker often is ready by 11:30. It is us members whose unavailability makes it difficult for him to start exactly at 12. Anytime meeting is adjourned to 2 p.m., by 1:30, Speaker is ready to hold conclave. Again, it's our numbers that prevent him from starting exactly at 2. So colleagues, this goes to us. If we are ready at 12, Speaker will start exactly at 12. If we are ready at 2, Speaker will start at 2. So let's consider this. Then 2. His question in respect of the guidelines for the statements, that we should rather move away from limiting the length of the statement to 2 pages to dealing with word count and also the font size. Well, it's a suggestion that Business Committee will consider, Mr. Speaker. We'll look at it. Then the Honorable Asafo Ajayi also joined him in speaking about the limitations that the guidelines imposes, and therefore also proposes that we should look at the font size. That will be looked at. Then, of course, Charles Forson also joined him. So it's all about whether we should rely on word count to measure the length of the statement, or we should limit it to number of pages. So that will be considered. Then Dr. Buaku also is about word count. So that's about it. Susu, again, Dr. Susu also joined them. Now, the second deputy minority whip is requesting that the president be invited, the foreign minister be invited to speak to some foreign travels by the president. Speaker, I'm unable to respond positively to that because it's not an issue that Business Committee considered. In any case, we have already provided for ministers to come and make statements. So if this is the sense of the House, I believe that will be accommodated by that provision. Mr. Speaker, again, the Honorable Jerry Shaib speaks of some promise by the supposed promise by the foreign minister to build airports. I don't think that any such promise was given. So I am unable to speak to that positively, that he promised to build airports in every regional capital. I don't recall that. So, Speaker, that's about that. Then he made a suggestion that whether the security services will refund monies paid by applicants who have applied to be recruited into the security services as part of the ongoing recruitment exercise. I believe that it's a suggestion that somebody made, but as this House, I don't see how this House can give that directive. So that's a matter for the minister to consider. not the minister, but the security agencies to consider or otherwise. Speaker, now the minority leader comes in with a plethora of issues that have no relationship at all with the content of the business statement. These are Friday politics, Speaker, and therefore I'm unable to speak to them, except to say that where he's making a request for the ministers to come brief the House, that has already been adequately.
Poi e sama horo itimi ko so channel na so mami ena was so jemre. The Senate so bari na dia tumbi edumenia. GH Politics Avenue.